guys, and welcome back to the Casey Way. Today I'm going to be telling you a story about this time that I got caught not sneaking out. Yep. So for you to understand how I got caught, I first need to tell you a little bit about our house in South Africa. So like I've mentioned before, I was born and raised in South Africa and lived there until I was 16 years old. And then when I was a young teenager, as all teenagers are, I became a little bit rebellious. So this one time I wanted to sneak out and go see my friends. But South Africa is a pretty dangerous country, and you can't just, as a young child, basically, you can't just go walk the streets and go visit your friends. It's like not allowed, and it's way too dangerous. However, being a rebellious little kid, I decided I want to. So my house in South Africa, like I mentioned, safety is a huge thing, especially growing up in Johannesburg. We lived in like a fortress. Now, that was really normal for me, but when I, see the houses here in Australia and I tell people about how our house was back in South Africa, people are amazed. So just to paint the picture, we had this beautiful big house with a big garden. However, surrounding our entire house, we had a wall that was 2 meters high. On top of that wall, we had another meter of electric fencing. So if anybody touched the fence, it would, number one, give them an electric shock, and number two, set the alarm off. So that surrounded our entire house. In our garden, we had motion sensor, like laser beam type things. Like now, not the ones that you see like in the movies. Like they were blind laser beams. However, if anybody crossed through the two sensors, the alarm would go off. So we would know if someone was walking through our garden. Coming to the house, all our house, like throughout the entire house, all the windows have bars on them. We call them burglar bars. So you have to open the window, but you can't climb in and out of a window. It's just not possible. So they got burglar bars, and every window actually had like a little magnet on it. So if anybody did try and open the window and the magnet broke when the alarm was on, boom, the alarm went off and security was called. All right, so that's the outside. On the inside, we also had motion sensor alarm system. So if anybody did, after all of that, make it into the house somehow without setting the alarm off, if they moved and one of the motion sensors went off, they were all like stuck up in the little corners, the alarm would go off. The house alarm would go off. However, we had our house, the way that our house was set up, it was just one long house. So we had on like the one half of the house, like the kitchen, dining, lounge room, play area, garage, the whole like living spaces of the house. And then it was separated by a door that went to all like the bedroom area. So by this one door, we then had all our bedrooms and bathrooms on the one side of the house. So when we went to sleep at night, we would all go to bed and we would lock that center door, and then we would arm the rest of the house with the alarm, with the motion sensors. So we could still walk around like that area and go to the bathroom and stuff without a problem. The dogs we had 3 dogs as well, but it's too dangerous for the dogs to sleep outside because people throw meat over the wall and poison the dogs. So guess what? All the dogs slept that side with us. So it was a pretty crazy but normal way to grow up, I guess, in South Africa. It's just how you lived. And believe it or not, like this is another story for another time, but we actually still got broken into, I think at least like 4 or 5 times. Like our house that I was living there, we got broken into. But anyway, this one particular night, so now you've heard the crazy security that we have. This one particular night, I knew I wanted to sneak out and go visit some of my friends who lived on the same street with me, but they were just up the road. They were also sneaking out. But I knew if I stayed up later in the lounge room watching TV and I didn't go to bed and put the alarm on, Mom would hear it. Mom would hear that I hadn't put the alarm on, and she would come through and obviously come looking for me. So I had a plan. So what I did was I waited for Mom and Dad to go to sleep. I was waiting for my friends. They were also trying to sneak out. And I took like these cardboard, like just like a cardboard thing, and I blocked off all the motion sensors in the house. So I like basically barricaded it so that when I walked past it, you couldn't see that it wouldn't pick up the movement. So that way I could still arm the alarm. And then I put another magnet on the one window that I knew you could, like we didn't have a bar on because we'd renovated that half of the house. It was the one window that I could get out of. So I left that window open and put the magnet on there so that again didn't go off. And then if you went a certain way around the house, I knew how to avoid the like laser beam, like motion sensors outside. So I waited for Mum and Dad to go to bed. I set all of this up. And then I went to my room, like armed the alarm, which was in my parents' bedroom. So to come in and like put the alarm code on, that was actually inside my parents' bedroom. So they heard when I did that. And then I locked the passage door, like the adjoining door. And then I went to my bedroom, just waiting for my other friends to then say, yep, they were ready to sneak out as well. We were all going to meet up out on the street and just be silly teenagers. Looking back on it now, it's like, you are such an idiot to have even wanted to do that. Now, this was one of the first times that I was actually proper sneaking out, and I was very, very excited. I was very nervous, but I was very, very excited. So I'm sitting in my bedroom waiting for all my friends to be like, yep, cool, ready to go. Like, well, I'll meet you outside. And then I fell asleep. And I woke up in the morning and I saw it was daylight, and I'm like, oh, no. So I've walked out of the house. I've walked out of my bedroom, like prepared for like all hell to break loose. And I've kind of walked out there and mom and dad are going, oh, good morning. And I'm like, oh, okay, hi. And mom says to me, she goes, did you leave the window open last night? And I was like, oh, no, I don't think I did. I think I shut it. She goes, oh, that's really weird because I'm sure I shut it before I went to bed. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, freaking out, I've now looked up and I can see that the motion sensors are still blocked. Like I've still got that piece of paper over the motion sensors and I'm like, oh shit, how am I going to get them? I think it was like a Sunday as well, so they weren't going anywhere. I was like, how am I going to get these motion sensor, like the papers off the motion sensors without them seeing? Like they're in the lounge room where they are. And I'm just freaking out. I'm like, oh, okay, no, I'm just going to go back to my room. I'm going to wait for them to go out and do something or be in the kitchen or something, and then I will pull them off. Anyway, go back to my room, freaking out. A little while later, I get a knock on the door and they say, Casey, can you come here, please? I'm like, yes. They pulled me outside and obviously now my heart is sinking. I'm like, oh no, I'm in so much trouble. And they've seen the motion sensors and they just let rip at me. And I was like freaking out and I was like, would you believe me if I told you I didn't actually sneak out? And they were like, how can we believe that? Like, you've left the door open. You left, like, they freaked out about the security, obviously safety as well. You can't go walking outside, on the streets by yourself. Like, who were you going to see? What were you going to do? And I was like, I promise I didn't actually go anywhere. They did not believe me. For ages, I was so busted and so grounded and in so much trouble. I got sent to my room, phone taken away, everything. I was in so much trouble and I didn't even make it out. Can you believe it? Anyway, that was one of my fun, crazy, naughty stories. Suffice to say, I never did that again. And they genuinely did not believe that I didn't sneak out until like a couple years later when I just like stuck to my story and I was like, no, I fell asleep. Like I actually didn't. I had a plan to fix it when I came back, but I fell asleep before my friends even. I said, I could show you the messages where my friends are like, where are you? I never made it out and I got busted. So that was a huge learning lesson for me. And yeah, definitely was never going to do that again. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Just a bit of fun, a bit of insight as to what it was like being a teenager in South Africa. I feel like here in Australia, everybody sneaks out. I snuck out a few times when we did move to Australia and I was 16. So much easier because we don't even lock our front door here. So way easier to sneak out here in Australia, but obviously very, very different in South Africa. So that's one of my stories from South Africa, guys. I do have tons more that I'm going to share with you. A lot of my cruise ship stories, a lot of stories about Australia and also traveling the world. So I hope you stick around. I hope you hit that subscribe button and I hope you enjoy it. Please do connect with me on social media at Casey Iola. I'll link the links down below so that I can get to know you better and you can let me know if you do have a listen and what you think. I would really, really love that. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I'll see you on the next episode of The Casey Way.